Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. This is Joe.
This is Won-Jin.
Welcome to our channel. We have just updated our profile pic.
Yeah, that's right.
After 2 years of pure laziness. Please support us. Thank you so much. We want to give a big shout out to ZZ, Scott Walker, Russian ID, Hui Chan Hong, Jasmine, and Kayla Marie. Thank you so much for always tuning in. We know some of you come back to watch our channel even though you can't be with us during live, but we appreciate it all the time. Thank you so much.
By the way, the Russian ID, that is Alim Kapov.
Alim Kapov. Big shout out to you because we remember you made some very insightful comments in our Shogun video. Me and Won-Jin, we might do a Shogun cast again because I don't think we ever really talked about the whole season. But anyway, Scott Walker, what's up?
Scott Walker, what's up? Hey guys, how you going this week? I was hoping we can do a part free.
Hey Scott Walker,
talk.
Let me tell you this. Today, this session, we are going to talk about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2 called Scargiver. And after this, we're going to have a Let's Talk session. So let's talk about dinosaurs and Jurassic Park after this, Walker. So today, we are going to talk about Rebel Moon Part 2. Full spoilers for the whole movie and Part 1. We're going to talk about it. So if you have not watched it, please come back later. Here we go. So, Won-Jin, I definitely got some scars watching this mentally.
Mental scars.
Yeah. Because, you know what's so funny, though? Because this Part 2 came at a time after Dune Part 2.
Oh, that's true.
And, their structure is so similar.
And we cannot help but compare.
Yeah. But you know what's so funny, though? They have the exact same, almost very similar structure and plot. The Part 1 was set up for the world, and Part 2 is the payoff. This is the same for Dune. For Rebel Moon, Kora, you can argue, is also a Lisanga naive. She is a foreigner. She's not a foreign voice, but she's a foreigner come to this village to help them, right?
Yeah.
But it made me realize that there was levels to this directing stuff. Because I just felt like Rebel Part 2 was a little loose, especially in the beginning when we got to know these characters better, because that was our complaint for Part 1, right?
Yeah, they were gathering around that bonfire and sharing stories, and we got this context that was supposed to be given to us at the exposition of the first movie.
And another thing that was lacking was Dune Part 2 had, and this movie doesn't have, is sort of this mise-en-scène and memorable scenes. I was really disappointed when the Anthony Hopkins robot got into battle. I gotta be honest, I thought they were gonna do something where the villagers are cornered, right? They're finally having to retreat to this rock rice stockpile. And then suddenly that robot comes down from the bottom like Superman. Yeah. And then do this kuching, and the camera angle changes, and we get a 360 of the Anthony Hopkins robot. Yeah. And say he says a line like this: "For the princess." And then do something because if you think
exactly right. It could have been a lot more dramatic than the one we got from the movie.
Yeah, I just think in terms of mise-en-scène, scene, it was so much weaker than Dune Part 2. Because if you really think about it, it's very similar to Dune Part 2.
When you mentioned that robot and its introduction scene in the battle, what I am reminded of, and what the director should have got inspiration from, was a movie this is completely a different genre, but a movie like Kung Fu Hustle. You know when those Axe Gang, they storm the village?
Yeah.
And they're about to set that poor woman and her son or daughter on fire and throws that lighter. That remember that the kicking guy, he grabs the lighter in midair.
Yeah.
And finally all those hidden heroes, they make their appearance out of the shadows. That's the kind of like dramatic moment Zack Snyder should have done. I mean, it's not like he's incapable of shooting such a scene because, he's very gratuitous with all these slow motions and everything.
Yeah, Walker, let's do that after this in our Let's Talk session.
And we have a lot of these like pretty scenes and everything. Yeah. But on scenes that were supposed to count a lot more than the other scenes, it seems like he's not giving it the attention it really needs.
Yeah, I'm glad. I agree with you 200% because I think this movie should have been shortened. Because one of the great things about Dune was every scene had a purpose, and there were less characters that we have to focus on. Basically, Dune Part 2 is really about Paul and Shani, and then the rest are there to flavor it up a little. But what Denis Villeneuve does so well is they get these dialogues that, without them needing to tell us so much about who they are, we know who they are. Example, Rabban, he's always shouting, right? Always angry. Baron, for example, he's always scheming. In the few scenes he have, like, you can tell like how Denis does such a better job at showing a character in a less time frame, because if you think about it, I don't think the Baron for the first Dune Part 1 and 2, like, his screen time is like barely 10 minutes. Yet we already think of him as a very, very evil person. Yeah. Very menacing. Very, very, very scheming. And we're always afraid of what he's up to. Yeah. But here, like, Mad Max Fury Road did what Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2 did in 2 hours. Because they have a very similar structure. Remember, in Mad Max Fury Road, we travel from A to B and then
back from B to A.
Yeah, so it's like you can argue that it's the same scene. Right here, it's happening again. The Dreadnought is appearing again in the same fucking village. And this time it's supposed to be different, right? But I just felt like it was not efficient enough. Like, the only redeeming scene, like, the only thing I felt personally that Part 2 did well on what I just talked about was Bae Doona's character with the boy.
I was thinking about the same thing.
Yeah, that was done well. Yeah. Because without telling us, we think that she may have lost a child.
Yeah, and we see this connection that she kind of establishes with that boy.
Exactly, and we get the flashback that kind of confirms it. And then when she dies, it's beautiful because she tells, like, very motherly, says, "You did good." And then she dies. So, like, her character and Blood Diamond was the only fucking character.
Where is the diamond?
Yeah, I rooted for.
Solomon Bandi.
Oh, and remember when he said he would never heard her fly the robot? Yeah, we didn't believe him.
He just grenaded.
What's the weather like in Seoul? It's really hot, Walker. Was it just me, or did you guys also feel that the pace was a bit off? No, like, the pace was terrible. Like, this should have been 1 hour 40 minutes.
Well, not just the pacing, but I think also the sequencing of these scenes were a bit off. For example, we have that moment with Bae Doona, and she's having that, like,
the Korean actor.
Yeah, that death battle, and then she eventually dies, and then suddenly we kind of like move away from the battle, and then we see we see that infiltration into the dreadnought and everything. So I was wondering, why did they space this off so much? Because I think it would have been more effective if we put all that, like, battle sacrifices in one sequence altogether.
Oh man, I'm so glad you mentioned that. The problem wasn't just that. It was you know what Star Wars did well was...
Oh, by the way, today's May 4th of May, May 4th. Today is Star Wars Day.
Okay.
Yeah, May 4th.
Big shout out to Star Wars fans. You know what the Star Wars and Dune did so well was provide us with, let's say, in Star Wars they show a blade, right? You know, that's just a laser printing gone amok, if you can think about it. But they put meaning on it, that it's a sacred blade. It's the Jedi warrior way. Because if you
defend justice throughout the galaxy with that thing.
Thank you. Especially Dune Part 2, the water thing. It has meaning. Like the Freeman having this, it's not just a showing thing. The movie explains to us why that's important. Here the fucking problem is, I get this electric blade, right? I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, and you know when Kora was trying to grab it, she kind of burns herself?
Yeah.
I was wondering what the fuck was going on.
No, I was like, explain to me, motherfucker. and those guns, like, it's like so generic. Like, at least in Batman and Superman, it worked when Batman had this Gatling gun. Because we're in the world that we know, so we know that that's actually like ammunition-based Gatling gun being shot to an alien that's immune to it. So we understand. Oh wow, it's amazing. Here, when those fucking gunships, when that big drone arrived and he shot lasers, right? I was like, why isn't that breaking these guys like hiding, right? Why isn't it just going through that shit?
Yeah, I was wondering what was up with that. And when it hits like a piece of metal, it seems like it melts it down.
See, what here is like, Dune explained the shield and technology and everything that's going on. Remember, even the Baron says to Feyd-Rautha, "Oh, using ancient artillery, genius." So we kind of get the shield technology. I mean, we don't get a full explanation, but we kind of understand what these technologies are. But the problem here is, I have no fucking idea. This is like, I feel like this is a story that's been told 1,000 times, like those British warriors trying to get independence from the Roman Empire. Except what Zack Snyder did was put a space opera like cover on it without explaining why it has to be in space and shit. You know, Zesty Popcorn. Yeah, it's very cold here in Melbourne, Australia tonight. It's very creepy because it's very foggy. Oh yeah, Australia weather is different from us.
And what I was also wondering to myself was, you know that guy with the axe?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a battlefield with laser guns and laser machine guns and shit. I understood Bae Doona stuff because her blade was on fire. That thing was on flame.
Yeah.
And this guy is just like charging with a normal axe.
Right.
Why?
I agree.
Yeah. What was up with that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I like it just like, because Dune makes sense because Dune explained why, like, remember that fight scene with Gurney Hairlock and Paul in the beginning?
When he's training.
Yeah. I mean, I know if you deeply think about it, scientifically, that might not make sense, but the world has to be believable to us. These are all fantasy, by the way. But here, like, I don't know the Motherworld, is it? The Empire is called? What are they called? They're called,
I don't know. The Motherworld.
The Imperium.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, bring 2 dreadnoughts. Like, my question is like, what's stopping you from bringing like 3 dreadnoughts, 4 dreadnoughts, and why is, like, here's the thing. Seriously, this planet's grain is that important? Like, I don't know. I think this series is based on books, but they didn't explain that to me properly. Is this planet supposed to be Roman Empire's Egypt? Because that would make sense. Because in the Roman Empire, Egypt was more important than other provinces because they were responsible basically for the majority of grain supply.
I mean, so for this to have more like convincing power, they need to have something more than grains. I mean, that planet, just like Dune, it has spice.
Right.
It's irreplaceable. I mean, there are billions of planets in space, and they have a dreadnought that can go like intergalactic. Why are they so obsessed with this? And then eventually it's because of Kora. But then if she is such a high value target, like you said, don't you think they should call for backup?
Yeah.
Like ask for reinforcements because we have the most wanted in the entire empire in this planet.
And you know what I hated, now that you brought that up? I hated the Ides of March mimicking Caesar's assassination stuff. Like, because because Dune at least explained why these guys use blades. I was like, you guys have guns, right?
Yeah, like laser guns.
No, just press a button and let the hatch open and throw them out of fucking space. Why is this the most efficient way to kill somebody? So some of the technology was just like unexplained to me.
Not just the technology, but the scene. I mean, in scenes that needs to be dramatic, it fails to be dramatic. When scenes that don't have to be so dramatic is overly dramatic. For example, that band that was playing music?
Yeah.
I was wondering what the fuck, what's up with that?
Yeah. I agree.
Why are they, do they really have to play music there?
Yeah, like, it was funny.
Just, like, make sure that we have extra witnesses?
No, it would have been funny if they were, like, shaking their legs as they play. Because they have these, like, Guantanamo Bay fucking, like, terrorist interrogation masks on. I was like, that's fucking funny. Well, go ahead.
Now that we talked about the robot entrance, I think that former prince guy who was using that axe, I was thinking maybe they should make that scene, I mean, give some meaning to that axe as well.
Right.
Remember, what was that movie, that Christmas comedy movie with the super violent Santa Claus?
Violent Night.
Oh, Violent Night, that's right. Remember that moment when he gets his hands on that sledgehammer? And we know that shit's about to go down. I mean, they should have done that with the axe. Let him fight with like a normal like rifle or something, and then he somehow loses the gun or it runs out of ammunition, and then finally he pulls that shit out. And
what that is?
Go medieval.
The characters look different, but their functions overlap. That's the problem. Like, Bae Doona and that prince is basically the same character. They're just melee fighters. Like, why don't they have, like... See, here's the thing. In part 1, they already showed us that the princess has some kind of healing power, right?
Yeah.
Which they failed to elaborate on this one again, why that's important. Then I'm just assuming that there's some kind of, like, magic science you can do with the axe, too. And, like, I was just disappointed at the combat itself. Because, like, even Star Wars did this well. Like, when the Sith Lord does a fucking helicopter with the blade, it makes sense to us because we have knowledge of the Sith and the Jedi, like, manipulating the Force and doing the kung fu stuff. Here, like, we get no context of what their fighting skills is, why they need to do a melee combat.
I mean, there are a lot of opportunities wasted. For example, Bae Doona also shows us in her flashback that she cut off her own arm to attach that gauntlet. And then as she tells her story, she says that this like battle hunger is sleeping within that gauntlet. Like generations of her kind's like fever for war. And I'm hoping when she was cornered, that gauntlet somehow like awakens to like a level 2 or something, to another level.
100% agree.
Yeah, and then it kind of unleashes power that she did not know of.
No, because that's so... Like, this is how I imagine when her hands was cut off. Like, I like the boys before she died scene, but in the middle, what should have been done was like her gauntlet suddenly lightening up and ching, and then like the gauntlet surrounds the blade, and then the other blade just attaches here, and then she's like, for the ancestors, and like she does like. Because remember, like, she's about to... It's a death dance.
Yeah, that's
she's about to die.
And then she says, like, she has some battle cry in her own language.
Like her, like, home country, like... Hula hila mala, and then like do like the same helicopter shit that Sith Lord did in like Star Wars. Like, see, I didn't mind it being like maybe aimed at younger audiences, but like even the prequel Star Wars. Remember when General Grievous brings out his cloak and he has four arms?
What's it called? Like four lightsabers, and his line was also badass. Yeah. Those were like lightsabers collected from the Jedis he killed.
Yeah. And then here, like even the Titus, like there were little scenes that they could have done. Like, for example, Titus having a fuck the Empire tattoo or something to show us, or like a skull of like these Imperial soldiers. I just had you guys are still my top favorite YouTuber. Thank you so much, Skywalker. Big shout out to you. I'm glad we made this
season
right.
6. All right, I gotta start watching Cobra Kai.
Yeah, so I just like You know what's so funny though? I felt like Zack Snyder is a better director than this, to be honest. Because I actually kind of enjoyed his zombie movie. What's the one with Dave Bautista? Like
I forgot
going to Las Vegas and stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was okay. Not I don't know about pretty good, but that was like at least it had like new ideas that it presented. Here the problem was like the noble technology. Like first of all, that noble actor is good. He's a great actor.
He's a great villain.
Yeah,
in every movie.
In Deadpool, he was amazing. Here, he was amazing. Except, God damn it, give them some fucking lines that are memorable. And what the fuck is up with the cocoon? I was like, is he gonna come out as a butterfly or a fucking moth? Like, they don't explain these shit to me.
Godzilla moment.
Yeah. Except in Star Wars, they put you in a tank and then they put you in this water tank. It kind of makes sense to us because we've seen this in a lot of like Japanese anime.
I mean, in Star Wars, when we see like a glimpse of Darth Vader in that tank, we can still feel the charisma. But what the problem with Noble in this is he kind of to me it felt like he was throwing like a tantrum. That was far from charisma.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. And Noble having a battle scene on that fucking evacuating building, it shouldn't have been some random farmer. It should have been one of the main crew. It should have been Titus or the prince or something.
Yeah.
So there is a dramatic effect where the prince can say, "This is for my father and my mother," and then Noble saying some line like, "Who were they?" Like something to mock them. Because even the Darth Vader like Obi-Wan series is better than this movie in my opinion, because it had those scenes where Obi-Wan says, "I hate you."
Yeah.
Like here
and that voice distortion moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it has some good moments.
Here, like a lot of the battles have nothing at stake except Noble and Cobras. And I knew that handsome ass Dario Naharis was gonna fucking die too. Like that's how predictable for the plot was. He gets to okay, sorry my language. He gets to have sex with the most beautiful woman and he dies or fucks off. That's his role in every fucking movie.
Even in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because I felt like Noble should have a scene where like one side is Titus, one side is the prince with the axe, right? And Noble does something like this line like where did you know that if I come back from did you know that people who come back from the dead are stronger? And Titus starts saying, you humiliated my soldiers. They deserve a courageous death. And like he does this line like, did they? They died for the Empire. What's the problem? And the axe guy losing his cool and jumping at me. There weren't like these are. Hey guys, what I'm saying isn't like amazing at all. It's very simple. Like we're used to this in anime.
Yeah, and that's what matters in these kind of movies and animations.
Exactly.
That's what the Infinity War phase of the Avengers understood. Because remember, we have a very similar scene, like the one that you mentioned. We have the scene where they finally fight Thanos again.
Yeah.
And then after having learned about what happened in the past, Thanos says, "You go back in time and blah blah blah, and look where it brought you."
Yeah.
Right back in front of me.
Yeah. Like there's like no memorable lines. Another problem I had was like they should have explained that the Dreadnought like going for the engine plan from the get-go.
And that was also interesting and unexplained at the same time.
That was
Remember
fucking
that
weird.
when she was like attaching those bombs to the engine thing, it kind of had like a face and it opened its eyes.
Yeah.
That was kind of creepy and also interesting. But they did not give us any explanation.
You know what's so funny? You know, Guardian of the Galaxy, the first one did this better. They were aiming for that room where the fucking ship was going to go down. That was the whole plot. Here, like, they don't explain nothing and Kora attaches some fucking like ladybug shit on there. How the fuck do I know that's gonna explode this ship? How do I know it's supposed to do a nuclear charge and shit? And like I just feel like what's weird is like part one ending fight was better than this last fight. Like because I felt like
I mean the fight sequences and scenes in this movie could have been better had they had they not wasted all these opportunities to make it more dramatic.
Oh, another dumb fucking thing. They should have before the battle started, there should have been a scene where everyone's together and they radio in the rebel group, but they're not replying. And then there was like, it takes 30 seconds to do this, by the way, this scene. We can't wait for them. They might not be coming. And then when they come, it's dramatic because we're like, oh, fuck.
They're here.
They heard you. They heard you. And then they're going for the dreadnought.
Yeah. And remember, that's also the scene previous movies have done so well. Like, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Yeah.
King Theoden stands alone. And then he comes up, it's like, he's not alone.
Yeah.
And then they charge.
Exactly.
Behind the rising sun.
Yeah, when they came, I was like, did you guys radio them? How the fuck do they know this is happening? Oh, fuck. And another disappointment for me was, when technology is so advanced, you need some fucking explanation, man.
I was also thinking about the same thing, but in a very different context.
Yeah.
When the technology is so advanced that you have intergalactic dreadnoughts, why would you be targeting using like a wheel?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Like targeting the cannon thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, are they serious?
Yeah.
That's like manual targeting system on a space dreadnought?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, man. Another disappointment I had was the Regent, the Balisarius guy. There should have been at least one more scene about him and Kora's relationship, because they kind of hinted at that in part 1, right? There needed to have been a payoff where there's this 3-minute scene. Remember, Tywin and Tyrion have that 3-minute scene where that one scene shows us what this father and son relationship is. Here, they keep saying they love each other, but I'm like, you sure? Are you sure you're not one of the thousands of adoptees he had?
After, like, assassinating the emperor, you basically threw your daughter under the bus.
No, so there were scenes of her doing some action shit like a comic book strip, but what I'm talking about is this 3-minute of pure dialogue where we get to know the daughter and father. And let's say they're sitting on like a Roman style garden, right? And then Kora comes to salute her father, and he's like you can tell he loves her in some degree, but what they talk about is killing. Yeah. Like he's like, I'm so proud of you, and the Imperium is proud of you because you have subjugated those 3 planets that have resisted us. And then Kora smiles and says, "What is the next target?" With her and the princess, and the princess like grabs her arm or something and says, "Kora, do you like what you do?" Like something like that. And then she does this line where, "I was bred to be a warrior. I'm a fighter," but she's like, the universe is much larger than you think. So shit like that where she gets confused.
I mean, again, the Avengers did a much better job with this between Thanos and what was her name?
Yeah. Gamora?
Oh, Gamora, that's right, Gamora.
No, even the princess, I didn't give a fuck why I needed to care about this little girl. First of all, I don't know if she's like, I don't know. And her magic power was poorly explained. Like once they showed me Cocoon and the magic shit, I was like, what the fuck is going on? At least tell me something like, you know how in the first Star Wars movie, I'm talking about the very first one, they talk about the Force, but the Force is barely in play. They explain the Force, so they explain that this universe has some kind of Taoist shit going on, but there are real battles going on. But here, I have no idea what the fuck this universe is still. All I get to see is this evil Imperium.
So overall, like the first part 1 gave me a lot of Star Wars vibe. The second one, for some reason, although it's a space opera, it does not give off that Star Wars vibe at all. It gives me more of like a Seven Samurai vibe.
No, but like they were trying to combine all that, and I just felt like I don't mind like new movies taking inspiration from old ones, but they need to be blended together. And this obsession with this village was really driving me nuts. And I don't know. And I think they're trying to make a next one because they're going to look for the princess, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Hey, but on the upside, I would like to say some scenes were great. There were like great scenes in there. I just felt like it should have been less characters, or if they were going to do a water margin type storytelling where there are a bunch of characters, this should have been like a TV series where we get to like like that. I feel like that prince was kind of fucked over. Hey, Won-Jin, hear me out. All I know about the prince is their planet loves griffins. Griffins like fight ships and shit. He had a mother and father that looks kind of Pakistani. Oh, big shout out to like the racial ambiguity of the cast. I really enjoyed that actually. Even the hot private who obviously wants to bang the village girl betrays the empire for that reason. Okay, that's fine. But like, I just feel like some characters, I got no context of who you are. All I know is that you're hot. You're hot. You're good looking. Is that enough for me to care about you, though? You're surrounded by a bunch of hot people.
Yeah.
I feel like there were too many silent moments, like so many unexplained actions. Yeah, there were a lot of gratuitous.
Yeah, and that's like a signature for Zack Snyder. He has a lot of these like meaningless, pointless, slow motion action sequences.
Well, I think there were less slow motions here. I just feel like, for example, the Justice League, his version is also 4 hours long. I felt like that had character development. Remember
what was it? I mean, yes, it had character development, but in terms of like the use of slow motion, what I could not understand. I mean, I still don't understand is like the moment when they're harvesting. That there's a lot of slow motion there, and I'm thinking to myself, is this really necessary?
Oh, and I'm glad you brought that up because one more criticism I have with Zack Snyder is, I'm so sorry, Zack Snyder. This is kind of too harsh, maybe, but I just like after watching this one, I can finally say it. You're not really great at making an original world. Like for example, Dune. When I watched it, I felt like it was a new world I haven't seen before, which is basically not true. But I felt like Zack Snyder's world always reminds me of other movies, like other worlds, like that done that better before that they're bringing in, because Dune Part 2 felt like a new world to me. But anyway, maybe that's a little too cruel. Yeah, the feel scene, all that solo made me zone out. Yeah, like so many unexplained actions, slow mo. Anyway, let's give a number grade, Won-Jin.
I would give this movie a 6. I'll give it a 6.
6?
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. Maybe I would. Deep in my mind, it's shouting to give it like a 5, but I think that's too harsh because as entertainment, this still has some entertainment value for people who like science fiction and space opera and stuff. But I think it cannot escape being mediocre in my eyes.
Yeah, I want to add to that. Like, writing, like, a great script writer is needed, I think, for Zack Snyder. Like, anytime, he's kind of like Ridley Scott, where anytime the script is weak, the movie is weak. And Zack Snyder, there were some... Why, Zezzy? What do you think the grade should be?
Oh, Zezzy is going to be super harsh, like 4 or something.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, but like anyway, like for me,
5.5. Okay, not too far off.
I'm gonna give it a fucking 5. Because I think you said this before we started. The first one, like part 1, was better for me. Part 1 was actually pretty intriguing. You remember what we said? We felt like the first one wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it had a lot of potential to build up on.
Yeah, except it also had that spider lady without explaining us to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 5, 6. We averaged 5.5 for Rebel Moon Part 2. If you are a Zack Snyder fan, watch it. But for me, Zack Snyder's high was 300 and Watchmen.
Yeah.
I think, they were both based on comic books. I think Zack Snyder is great at adapting material that exists because he is a visual genius in some ways.
That's why it works so well because it really felt like he just moved the graphic novel into the screen.
Exactly, and that itself is difficult. And we're not knocking Zack, but I felt like up to like the zombie world and this, he's not really great at creating original world beyond existing lore, like Justice League and Watchmen and 300. Which all have like a source material. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying like his new venture into... I don't know about this Rebel Moon universe, but it was not that great for me.
Yeah.
Like the world was not that great.
And even the name Rebel Moon, I still don't understand why it's called Rebel Moon.
Maybe
Which is weird.
You know what like? Now that you brought that up, I didn't want to say this, but stop copying Star Wars, guys. Like everybody doesn't need to be a rebel and a fucking empire. I wish I had a space opera where we get the Empire's perspective. Oh, fucking ruling these 20,000 planets.
Crush the rebellion.
Crush the rebellion. Yo, you know how much tax revenue I spent on your development? Like why does it always have to be a rebel and shit? Anyway, guys, that's our take on Rebel Moon Part 2. We're going to take a 3-minute break and come back to have a Let's Talk session with y'all about dinosaurs and other stuff. This has been JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
We'll see you in a bit. Oh, seriously, the team did a great job with the special effects. I give the grade for the actors and the team. Yeah, the actors were great. But they were just fucking wasted.
I mean, Jimon Honsu.
Yeah.
I mean, his performance was the bomb.
One of the best scenes was when the villagers like Titus, and
when he was like roaring.
No, he takes three seconds to respond. He's like, yeah. Anyway, we'll be right back. Bye.
That was some gladiator moment.
Fuck yeah. He comes from Earth. He met Commodus. He killed Commodus. He were hibernated and sent to.
He met Maximus.
Yeah, the Imperium. Like he should have angel wings by now.
And then he got rid of his slave name and he got that name Titus. Now he's a general. Don't forget to drink water, guys.